What if I tell you guys Pyramid is a strong killer if played right? What's up, everyone? It's Ari, and I'm a 12k hour DVD player with most of my hours on only Pyramid, and I am also number 1 NA and number 4 in the leaderboards for Cases of Atonement. This guide will also have timestamps if you want to watch something specific about Pyramid. I will also be covering about his power, his cages, add-ons, maps, etc. If you do enjoy this guide, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button for more pyramid content. And I'm also live on Twitch. If you guys want to stop by and say hi. If anyone doesn't know what Pyramid is or where he came from, Pyramid, or the Red Pyramid thing, is a manifestation guild of James Sunderland. He has a TR of 32 meters and a tall killer. His movement speed is 4.6 or 150%, but his movement speed while holding his power is 4.2 and 105%. Pyramid's power is called Rights of Judgment, or Punishment of the Damned, which his base hit range is 10 meters and can injure or down multiple survivors. Pyramid can leave trails whenever he places his sword on the ground by holding M2. His trails last 9 seconds, and holding his M2 can last up to 10 seconds. Any survivor who touches a tormented trail gets inflicted with torment and triggers killer instinct for 3 seconds. You can only get rid of the torment by cage or getting caged or rescuing someone from the cage of atonement. Downing a torment survivor also gives you an option to send them to the cage of atonement, which counts as a hook. Once they're on death hook and they're still tormented, you can actually mori them, which is called the final judgment. This power can be used on stairs. The ability to shoot down steps is one of the reasons why Pyramid is fun. This can also be used on basement stairs. Just make sure you're on top of the stairs, otherwise your power will not go through and it'll just cut off. Shots you can hit with Pyramid is on Gideons, the drop down tube, whatever you call it, the 2-story red forest. And if you timed correctly, you can actually hit shots while the survivor landed after a vault last second. And by the way, this killer is designed to tunnel, very aggressive. So if you ever want to tunnel or find a killer that you like tunneling, Pyramid is the best killer to tunnel, especially after the nerfs you got though. Unless you don't want that, depending what playstyle you want. After downing a tormented survivor, you have the option to cage them. Cage spawns from the furthest away from your current location, and remembering cage spawns depending what map you want. Let's use Cold Tower Call for example. Caging someone around 2 or 3. The cage survivor will spawn around 7 or 6. It will take a while to get used to learning majority of the cage spawns on all the maps. Since base kit borrow time is a thing for cages now, you can still easily tunnel them. You just gotta be careful with the BTAs if you can land a shot. Besides cages spawning the first from you, his cages also counter hook perks like borrow time, shoulder, decisive strike, off the record, deliverance, dead hard, reassurance, etc. A huge warning for caging. Caging will not activate pop, converted lock, dead face, etc. So if you want to get value from those perks, you must hook, unfortunately. Caging also counters survivors hovering for a pallet or flashlight saves. Depending how you want to play, pretend to pick up the way survivors will run up to you for a flashlight save. That way you can get a free hit on them or maybe a 2-tap. Most of the cage spawns will always spawn mostly in shack or corners of the map. If you stand close than 10 meters, the cage will teleport to the other side of the map, so you can't base camp, but you can proxy cages farther than 10 meters if you know where the cages are at, making survivors difficult for them to rescue, which is a 1 full second for a full rescue cage. This is highly recommended to never cage when the exit gates are fully powered, because majority of the cage spawns will spawn near a gate unless you're caging near a gate, but it might be very situational, so do it at your own risk. Otherwise, it's an easy escape for them. Did you know with Pyramid's power, you can actually abuse his power with certain elevation? Yeah, there's a couple maps you can actually use this for advantage. You can use it on Front Main, in Garden of Joy, or the God Palette. Sadly, you cannot use his power, unfortunately, in on the kitchen window and the dining room window. You can use this on Midwich, the Dog Saloon main, Orman main, which this is the nastiest spot you can use your power through, the gazebos in Yamoka, and main temple. And you can actually use this on House of Pain window and Badham. Right. This is something I've been doing for years since I played Pyramid. Getting stunned while his power is released, if done right. I like to call it the Awrii Tech. It's just the same thing as Focus, but using his power. What I would do, get used to the Awrii Tech, is hold your power. And the Survivor is like exactly like in the middle of the palette, or if they're ready to go back and try and stun you with the vacuum, there is your opportunity to hit them with the power. And that way they'll get injured or they get down. And you can possibly get a two tap. So you don't really need enduring, but enduring would be nice. So I'll give you a heads up. But we'll give you a warning though. Most survivors will try and read the palette. So 100% they will not go for the sun play. They will always go for the greed play. So just be careful and be patient. And when you're ready to feel comfortable hitting that Awrii Tech, then that's when you know you've done it right. There is a lot of ways to use Pyramid's power, or I like to call shots. There's long shots, quick shots, prediction shots, and flicks. Before I get into shots, if you want to learn these types of shots, you must be patient with your power, like holding his power and learn how to survive his path. If you're not being patient with his power, I promise you, you will not enjoy his power, especially how clunky it is when you first start off. Long shots is common where you hit a survivor from a further range and easier to zone survivors more. A big helpful tip for this is holding your power left and right constantly, like zigzagging, which it will throw the survivors off a lot, which trying to go for long shots is difficult since it's easier to dodge. So this is a gamble for most of the time, especially in open areas. Otherwise, you're getting a W Q. Quick shots are the fastest shots that survivors will have less time to react. As soon as the sword hits the ground, that's when you do quick shots. Quick shots are more common during flicking. These two shots, you can switch up your playstyles during games. You can do half quick shots and half of long shots. So sorry, I also have to guess what playstyle it is. A useful tip for doing quick shots or trying to flick is using your power in the direction you think the strider is going and quickly drag your power behind them and fire. This helps a lot when it comes to striders double backing, since double backing is going to be more common against Pyramid. Always, always, always keep practicing. And as always, be patient with your shots and learn how stars back. Now, prediction shots, they're the most satisfying when it comes to maining Pyramid. You can use aura perks for this, but it is way more satisfying without aura. These are mostly done by out of sight. These shots take a lot of time to get used to mastering and with Strider Bathing to learn. If you ever need to practice prediction shots, think of playing Spirit. Audio is important to hear footsteps and, more specifically, survivors being injured. That way you can figure out where they're heading. It is okay to miss shots, so don't feel bad for not performing well. He is not an easy killer to pick up, especially if you're new to killer. It takes a lot of time to get used to since Pyramid is a 50-50 killer with his power. Now, mostly everyone is here because of flicks on Pyramid, the main thing about him. Unfortunately, this does not work for console gamers, so I'm sorry, controller gamers, because flicking is very difficult. Right before he sends his power, you have one frame where you can actually flick the free motion he has. What you want to do is hold your power and you want to flick as you click. And my mouse that will actually it'll show what's clicking or not, so it makes a bit more easier. So we'll do it again. Flick as you click. Do it again. Click as you click. You can do it in any direction you want, depending where you're swiping of your mouse, like left, right. There you go. Okay, that one you have to like swipe across the mouse pad. As of right now, I don't know if FPS still affects 120 and 90 because back then 120 and 90 FPS specifically, your flicks won't go to the direction you want to go. Since my PC's been struggling to play on those two specific FPS, 60 FPS is the best way for flicking if you ever want to be consistent. If you ever feel comfortable, high DPI and max sensitivity is how I mostly flick in these settings. And having a high DPI, you can do nasty flick and you can do a lot of 180s. 180s aren't really useful during chase since majority of the chases will be either W key or we'll try it on a tile. So the best options just go for shots. Only do 180s if you ever feel like, just going for clicks. If his slow rotating speed, practice of his flicks and his power is clunky when you first try him out. I've seen people struggling using his power while moving. I would recommend going to custom games so you can try out his power and practice shots and flicking. Just remember, 10 seconds is his base kit holding his power, so take the time you need. Always be patient with your shots. Ever since the Walking Dead chapter, Pyramid got a full add-on rework, making a wide variety of choices to use, depending on your playstyle. So I'm going to show you guys the best, the worst add-ons. Eerie Seal of Metatron is a strong and one of the funnest add-ons to use on Pyramid. How it starts is it makes your base kit range 50%, and you can increase it by making trails or holding your power. Makes your range up to 200%. This 200% range resets when you hit a survivor. This add-on is really fun going for long range snipes, especially with aura perks. This add-on also works very well with Rust Colored Egg, which I will talk about later. Music Box is a must-use add-on, which what it does is just decreases your cooldown by 10%. So no matter if you hit your shots or you miss your M2s a lot, you'll recover quickly. You can either go for a two tap, or if you're struggling against someone that's just gonna WQ your power, and you can manage the distance after missing shots with the add-on. Scarlet Egg is a must-use add-on as well, especially making trails around the map. So if anyone steps on the trail, they are tormented, and the tormented trail actually follows them if they run, which is a really good add-on if you want information. Which, by the way, it also helps a lot. The tormented survivor uncages is a slight chance they're going to get tormented again, or it could be both if possible. Now, Black Stripe is a good add-on, especially combining with Eerie Seal. Black Stripe just decreases the range, but it also increases the whiff, so you can manage to hit two survivors on a gen with this combo. Or if you just want to go for cheesy hits, not worrying about going for long shots. Goblin is one of those add-ons I only ever use if I'm running Thwack. It's a really good combo if you ever need information. Goblin is just pretty much just using your power. It breaks pallets, doors on the way, but the cooldown, it is horrendous. So always run a music box if you ever feel comfortable. Without it, survivors will get a lot more distance. The Crimson Ceremony book is one of my favorites to run whenever I go against good survivors. This add-on is just pretty much sloppy butcher for hitting survivors with his power, typical hemorrhage and mangled status effects. This add-on, this lasts for only 80 seconds. And then one of my personal favorites, Misty Day Remains of Judgment, which what it does, you hit survivors if you're punished from the dam, it reveals aura to you for 8 seconds. 8 full seconds of hitting someone with this power. So you have a lot of time where they're gonna go, or you can potentially get a two tap. With lethal and this add-on combined, it is a lot more fun. Maxlaw is something I'll only run if I ever want to do variety changing. It just increases the range by 5%. Isn't really much of it. So I guess in case if you want to like run it, just get some extra range and snipe drivers and maybe hit them with the tip of the powers. Now, rust colored egg, like I said earlier, pairing this with Eerie Seal is my favorite combo because if you hit survivors with your power with this add-on, you get 30% of your power back, which you can instantly rebuild the range without having like the wait seconds to rebuild. Since the recharge is it takes a while to build it back up. But besides Eerie Seal, I don't really see much of a purpose of putting this add-on. Tablet of Depressor is which what it does is you're undetectable while using the Arts Judgment. This add-on can be fun if you're just going for fun shots or just fun builds. So pairing this with Eerie Seal, you can just catch stars off guard. Now, Forgotten Videotape is honestly a controversial add-on for me because every time I run it, I feel like there is no difference with 10% travel speed. I've made a comparison with and without it, and I feel like it feels the same. Maybe I'm just being dumb, but this add-on just feels like there's barely any effect. So I'll probably make a video about this add-on, maybe, but we'll see about it. Now, Lost Memory Books is an add-on I could not bother to really run it much, only because I'm not really an oblivious person. Which, by the way, this add-on how it does is using your power, hitting survivors of it will trigger Oblivious for 80 seconds. Honestly, it's unless it's a state, I'm not really a huge fan of Oblivious because most of my survivors, no matter what, they'll they'll be very cautious. And it's gonna be really hard to catch them off guard. So maybe this add-on will get a video too. Maybe. We'll see. For anime painting, I really wish it got like a tiny buff. What it does, it just shows the auras of all stars within 3 meters of your missed punch from the damp shots for 6 seconds. I honestly wish this add-on got buffed, like at least like a couple meters. Because by then, if you're missing a lot of shots, they're either gonna W key or this add-on is just very inconsistent showing aura. I feel like 3 meters is just not really good enough. So I hope this add-on gets a buff in the future. Maybe. Now, Spearhead used to be a good add-on after DVD removed cage notifications a while back, but since the cage notifications are back, this add-on is not really, I guess, unless you want to find the person uncaging, which why even bother if you can easily tunnel the person that got uncaged. If DVD removes notifications again, then yeah, this add-on will for sure be a good add-on to run for good information. Now, Copper Ring, what it does is just holds your M2 power by power seconds, which is honestly pointless because basic is like literally 10 seconds. So unless you want to use it for easy zoning, then it's up to you. Now, Mannequin Foot, now this add-on, I really wish it applied to hitting survivors, but instead it only applies to the trails, which survivors stepping on the trail, they get exhausted for 10 seconds. I guess it's just better to run genetic limits than this add-on, unless you want to run both of them. It's I guess it's a pretty good combo for both of them. That add-on, I will for sure make a video about it with the combo. Now, that butterfly, it increases the recharge rate by 10%, but here's the problem. The base kit recharge rate is already slow how it is, which the full recharge of your power is 40 seconds. It's an okay add-on. I don't I just don't really run it often, you know? I rather just run Misty Day or Scarlet or Eerie. Like any of the add-ons are like way better, you know? Here's Pyramid's worst add-ons, which I hate to say. Lettering, what it does is just makes the range by 25%, but it also removes the whiff 25%. This add-on is something you do not want to run, especially if you're new to Pyramid, because it makes your shots a lot more difficult, but it is really fun to land shots, but I would recommend if you're very comfortable with his power. So just giving you a heads up. Now, Print Fabric, I don't even know if I want to talk about this add-on, which what it does is just imagine enduring, but tier 0.5, but holding your power 15%. This add-on is just why even bother running it, you know, when enduring is like arguably better than this. You know, you're just wasting an add-on slot. And also you won't even get survivors dropping a balance in front of you holding power. It's like rare for that to happen every game. So, but enduring. Now, this last add-on, I don't even know why it's considered a rare add-on. Sick photograph, what it does is just each person that's tormented, it reduces your TR by 2 meters, stacks up to 8 meters. It's I don't even know why you bother even running it, you know, when you have modern abuse, you know? And plus, it's just gonna be more difficult for servers to step on the trail unless you have Starlag, of course. Maybe this add-on will get a video. We'll see. I don't know. I do want to try this add-on out and see how good it is with Starlag. So yeah, these that combo, I'll definitely have to make a video about it and see how good it is. If not, then yeah, this is like probably the worst add-on. Now, Pyramid is just one of those killers that he's not really map dependent, so any map works for him. Unfortunately, there's a handful of maps that makes Pyramid very difficult to play on, especially if you're going against a very good team. I think everyone's obvious of this, but Larry's. Yeah, this map is just it's just very frustrating to play, only because there is certain window vaults and walls that makes his power unplayable. Like his power will not go through, so it'll just cut off right away. So majority of the match are just it's just better to just M1 or M2 fake. No, Nostromo, I really wish it was a fun map for Pyramid, but I really wish it was. Why? Because the main building. Main building, you cannot use power at all. Like if you're trying to go for prediction shots, it'll just cut off right away. Just like Larry's. So it's just better M1 or just M2 in the middle of main. Swamp is also a difficult map to play on because this map has a lot of elevation, like the hills and terrain. And Gearman, you cannot use his power upwards. You can only shoot downwards. And majority of the game, people will likely run to the hills during chase. So it's just a lot more difficult to use his power. But it is decent if you want to make trails. So you're going to be M1ing a lot in both those swamp maps until you get to like a flat surface. Then that's when you can use his power effectively. Now, Banham is another map that is like it's I wouldn't say it's the worst, like top one worst. It's like worst to okay. And why? Because main building is so strong and it is impossible to cut stars off, especially in front of main. That one window vault, especially like without breaking the top floor door, even with that. And on top of that, you got the two-story and House of Pain, making it very difficult to use his powers. So, but you could make tiny trails if you ever want to get Torment Valley. Did I not mention this map is very strong for W King? And last, my least favorite map ever met, and I will get hate for this, RPD. I'm sorry, I despise RPD. This is like literally my least favorite maps. I despise this map so much. This map is legitimately W key central. Like no matter what you do, survivors will constantly W key against you, using power or not. I mean, sure, it is a good map to shoot through walls and the infamous RPD staircase, so you can actually shoot downwards on, especially on the God Palette stairs. But besides that, I promise you, you're gonna get double keyed a lot, which it's gonna be a hard time to hit some shots. I promise you that. Now, Pyramid has a lot of maps that are like really fun to play on. His best maps, in my opinion, Macmillan, Autohaven, Borgo, Shoutout Square, Gideon's, and Greenville. Gideon's is the number one Pyramid map. Why? You can shoot anywhere you want. Like you don't have to worry about elevation, like anything. And it's a tiny map too, so you don't have to worry about double keying as much. And you can actually in that map specifically, you can actually hit stars in tube during the fall, but it is very difficult to shoot it. In this map, you can hit nasty prediction shots, and you can use any palette in the map as the advantage. You can either get a free animation hit, and stars have to do something if they either drop or upgrade the palette, so it just makes your power a lot more easier and comfortable. A map, if you want to learn about Pyramid Head, is Cold Tower 1, Wrecker's Yard, and Chat Square. Those maps have the most simple layouts. I know Bargo doesn't, but hear me out. This map, you can actually learn cage spawns easier. You can either spawn in dead zones, even in Shack 2. Think of it as like a training ground for Pyramid. Greenville is also a fun map for Pyramid, even though the cage spawns are weird around main building, but it is a fun playground map to practice, and you can easily see survivors around the map since the map is not bugged with the fog back then and tall ass grass swamp. Since Spearmint got a full add-on rework, I like experimenting builds and still testing to this day and what's best for mining shots, slowing the game, and playstyles like committing chases. My starter build I recommend is I'm All Ears, Nowhere to Hide, Lethal, and Deadlock with Misty Day and Music Box. If you need a good pyramid build or one of my favorite builds to run all the time, I recommend Deadlock, Corrupt, Painters, and Turn Back the Clock. If you want a fun pyramid build, I like to use Thrilling, Corrupt, Forever Entwine, and Secret Project with Eerie Seal and Rust Colored Egg. And that's going to be it for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide, and hopefully this guide will help you become the best pyramid main. And I believe it. And hopefully I want to see you guys land some nasty empty shots. But until then, I will catch you guys later. And remember, I always go live whenever I feel like it. Twitch.tv/Awrii. And hopefully more pyramid content soon.